We need to talk about a serious problem in intermittent fasting research and, honestly, in nutrition science more broadly. The vast majority of studies have been conducted primarily or exclusively on men, and we're now discovering that women's bodies respond quite differently to fasting protocols. This isn't just an academic concern. This is about women being given dietary advice based on research that barely included them and potentially experiencing negative consequences as a result. Let me explain what we're seeing. Women have fundamentally different hormonal environments than men. The menstrual cycle creates fluctuating levels of estrogen and progesterone throughout the month, which affects metabolism, hunger signals, stress responses, and how the body handles fasting periods. Early studies showing benefits of intermittent fasting were predominantly in male rodents and male human subjects. When researchers finally started including women and looking at sex-specific outcomes, warning signs emerged. Some women practicing aggressive fasting protocols have reported menstrual irregularities, increased anxiety, sleep disturbances, and worsening relationships with food. We have emerging evidence that women may be more sensitive to perceived energy deficits. From an evolutionary perspective, this makes sense. Female bodies need to carefully guard reproductive capacity, and when food becomes scarce or eating patterns become erratic, the body may respond by downregulating reproductive hormones. This isn't just about fertility. These hormonal disruptions can affect bone density, mood, metabolic rate, and overall health. The research that does exist on women and intermittent fasting shows mixed results, and notably, women seem to require different approaches than men. Some studies suggest that women do better with less aggressive fasting protocols, perhaps a 10-hour eating window instead of 6 or 8 hours. The luteal phase of the menstrual cycle, the 2 weeks before menstruation, may be a particularly vulnerable time when severe calorie or time restriction can backfire. Women's bodies appear to interpret prolonged fasting as a stressor more readily than men's bodies do. Here's what's particularly concerning. We don't have enough long-term data on how intermittent fasting affects women's thyroid function, bone mineral density, or cardiovascular health across different life stages. We know almost nothing about how fasting interacts with perimenopause or postmenopause when hormonal environments shift dramatically. The studies we do have are often short-term, with small sample sizes, and they rarely stratify results by menstrual cycle phase or hormonal status. This doesn't mean intermittent fasting can't work for women. Many women report feeling great on these protocols. But we need individualized approaches based on actual female physiology, not extrapolated from male data. Women considering intermittent fasting should monitor their menstrual cycles, energy levels, mood, sleep quality, and stress responses. If cycles become irregular, if anxiety spikes, if you're obsessing about food or feeling constantly fatigued, these are signals your body is struggling with the protocol. The bottom line is this: we desperately need more research specifically designed to understand how women's unique physiology interacts with fasting protocols. Until we have that data, women need to approach intermittent fasting more cautiously than the general recommendations suggest. Start with modest eating windows, pay attention to your cycle, prioritize adequate nutrition during eating periods, and be willing to adjust or abandon the approach if your body sends distress signals. Your menstrual health, bone health, and psychological well-being are more important than fitting into a trendy eating pattern that was validated primarily in male subjects.